This is easy.
What is up, Goat World? This is Kurt, also known as American Time Machine. I'm here to bring you another educational video in continuation of our introduction series to popular Goat format decks. The last one was pretty successful, I would say, in comparison, and so we want to continue the series and bring you some resources to enjoy this game. We want you to have a social game where people can connect and have a unique and interesting experience, and we think that Goat format can do just that. So first, with this deck, we're going to go over the pros and cons of this strategy. Then we're going to go over this deck list by Moxxies, who is seen as a very effective pilot of warriors, and we're going to go over the card by card in that, and then we'll give a general concluding overview to this deck and maybe some tips. And again, this is designed for the beginner player, but hopefully there will be some good things for the intermediate player as well. And keep in mind, I do not claim to be an expert at this strategy, but I have had some reps against this strategy, and maybe I can offer some decent insight for that newer player. So first, the pros. The pros is that this matches up very well with a lot of popular decks, including Chaos Turbo. I would say this deck is rather consistent. It has Rhoda, Reinforcements of the Army, which searchable spells are very good in this early format, and adds to your consistency and the toolbox capabilities of the strategy. It can win rather quickly, it can do a lot of damage, and get in for 8,000 pretty quickly, and has a fairly simple game plan. Of course, there are very complex game states with a lot of decks, but you won't find them in the mirror match very much for sure. One complicated thing can be that Blade Knight will conflict with having other monsters on the field, so the timing there can be interesting. And the cons. Probably the biggest con is that running 3 Solemn Judgment, which is good in my opinion, opens you up to ring plays from the opponent and hurts your own Ring of Destruction if you have to use a couple of Solemn Judgment. You will frequently find areas where you are playing off of your back foot in a lot of game states. There are certain scenarios where you draw the things you would rather search for with Reinforcements of the Army. If you draw level 2 warrior, for example, that can be a little bit bricky because it's a small monster and by itself is not a big threat. It does one specific thing, and you would rather have the situations where you would want to search it if need be, if you need it in the scenario rather than draw it. And even though this deck is consistent, it can rely a little bit on having the correct sequence of cards. Of course, like a lot of other decks, again, you want certain things to maybe be in the deck and reserved until later. Now let's get into the card by card. We are running Blackluster Soldier. Just banish a light and a dark, and you have a very powerful monster that can be spot removal or attack potentially twice for a whole lot of damage. Might not need any explanation, but it's rather good. We have Blade Knight, often seen as the premier monster of this deck because it can get up to 2,000 attack, and it can attack directly for good chunks of damage. It can also get over monsters, particularly flip monsters, to negate their effects. Unless it's an annoying Gravekeeper Spy, of course. But it is a light monster, and you will run into certain scenarios where you wonder if you want this to be your only monster on the field or summon another one. We have Breaker the Magical Warrior. Again, this can be spot removal, also respectable stats, and a dark. DD Warrior Lady. It is a warrior, it is a light, and it can banish annoying things like Sangan or Sinister Serpent. That's primarily what it will do, but it can do other things that are interesting as well. If this monster gets Snatch Stealed, that can be a problem for you, but otherwise it's a very solid card. We have Donald Zalug. In most cases, if you use Donald Zalug as your searchable dark as the only searchable dark in this strategy, and also it will cause your opponent to discard cards from their hand. Almost never will you use the other effect to mill their deck, but in some cases it can have useful applications. We have Exiled Force. Often this is used as spot removal, but this is one of the best pairings with your revival spells and traps, like Premature Burial and Call of the Haunted, just to get away annoying monsters. Often you don't want to hit things like Sangan or Sinister Serpent though. That tends to feel kind of bad. We have 3 Kaiku in this list. Kaiku just does its job. It's a huge beater. It prevents your opponent from activating their chaos monsters, and of course, it can banish important things from their graveyard. It can prevent Sinister Serpent from coming back. We have one Magician of Faith. Magician of Faith is just so very good at recycling resources, so a lot of decks will try to fit at least one Magician of Faith in. We have Mystic Swordsman level 2. This will destroy face-down monsters in the damage chip. A lot of applications for that. We have Grandmaster Ninja Sasuke. Sasuke will get rid of a lot of annoying GK spies and be an effective beater in general. We have Tribe Infecting Virus. If you didn't know, Tribe is very good in a lot of strategies, and so Tribe will be a spot removal for almost anything, but 1600 is respectable stats. We have Delinquent Duo, which needs no explanation. I don't think I can say that much about Delinquent Duo. Graceful Charity, Heavy Storm, Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 Noblemen of Crossout, which is obvious this will be removal for those face-down monsters. We have Pot of Greed. Pot of Greed. It's just Pot of Greed. We have Premature Burial, and Premature Burial is effective in Warriors because every monster that you can revive is going to be a pretty good monster. Save for Magician of Faith. Everything else is really worth reviving and spending that 800 life points on. A lot of strategies don't often find as many monsters that get a lot of value if you revive them, but Warriors is certainly an exception. We have potentially one of the most broken cards in the game, Reinforcements of the Army. Being able to search any of your toolbox warriors to take care of any problem will be effective, and the key to understanding this card will be understanding when to activate it and when to hold it potentially for a turn or two, and which monster to search out depending on the situation. We have Snatch Steal. Snatch Steal can run into big swings for every game. We have Call of the Haunted. Again, you can revive all of your important monsters in this strategy. This one just happens to be a trap instead of a spell, so a bit slower, maybe seen as a little bit worse than Premature Burial. We have one Dust Tornado. Getting 1-for-1 spot trades is very important in Warriors. We have 2 Jar of Greed. It is important to have blanks in your back row, potentially you could call it that, but also this will up your consistency. Mirror Force needs no explanation. We have Ring of Destruction. Again, Ring of Destruction can do a lot of things. Be that spot removal, it can close in for game as well. We have 2 Sakuretsu Armor. Again, this deck doesn't have a lot of discard traps that can do spot removal, so having things like Sakuretsu Armor to protect you from a lot of things can be effective. We have 3 Solemn Judgment. Wow, this is in the running for top 5 cards in the deck, I would say. Solemn Judgment is going to let you set your back row freely and play into Heavy Storm a lot more effectively. It's going to be a catch-all to almost anything that could put your opponent in an advantage state. Of course, this does come with its drawbacks, but Solemn is going to win you a lot of games just by being present. We have Torrential Tribute, which will be spot removal. That's important in a lot of matchups. Again, your deck may not be as recursive as other strategies, and you want to have something that will hedge, I would say, against bad situations. So Torrential is probably a lot better in Warrior strategies than other strategies. And in this list, we are running 3 Trap Dushu. Again, getting information and knowing how to play out the rest of your game and get in for important damage, that's going to play into a different dynamic than other decks running Trap Dushu would do. So you can pretty much isolate information very effectively with Warrior strategies. Now, I will not talk too much about the side deck because I don't want to have expertise, and I'm sure the meta is always evolving when it comes to the side deck. I might mention a couple here. We do have Morphing Jar that's seen as being rather important. You can side it in and gain back a lot of advantage. This deck is not typically an advantage deck, but Morphing Jar will be good at running back that advantage. We have 2 Asura Priest. I imagine this is coming in a lot of control matchups or a lot of matchups that will have Scapegoat in them. We have Amazoness Archer. And Archer will be rather good against burn strategies because you can inflict damage to your opponent by tributing off 2 annoying Ajama tokens. Then we have Book of Moon, which is an all-around solid card. We have Smashing Ground. Smashing Ground will be good at removal for a lot of monsters, but a lot of those monsters might be GK Spy as well. We have 1 Compulsory, we have 2 Dust Tornado, and we have Sing Sen Shu. Now, if anyone has important advice, if you think you're a top warrior player, feel free to leave that in the comment section. Again, I do not want to be seen as an expert in the strategy, just to give you guys a general overview. If you want to get in, check out goatformat.com. Get in on the Discord. You'll find a lot of people that are helpful there that will want to make you a better pilot of these decks, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with it. Again, my name is Kurt, also known as American Time Machine. Feel free to check out my music if you like, and I hope you guys are enjoying this format, and we'll try to continue the series because I think people like this educational stuff. Thank you guys for checking this out, and again, feel free to get in on the social action, and above all, have a good one. Thank you. Take care.